Thank you, Sean, for reminding me. Okay, so what we're going to do today with the Cloud CMA, so we're going to do an example on Cloud CMA. And what I wanted to do is just go through here and be able to just do a simple example. I'm not going to do the most complicated one, just so everybody gets a feel for this, and feel free to stop and interject. But so we're in our MLS, and all of us as agents have access to this. So this isn't anything special that I have access to. We all have access to this. So I'm sitting here in our MLS, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a search in Bell Hall. So, and here's Karen. Hi, Karen. So we're doing a search in Bell Hall, and all I'm going to do is subdivision Bell Hall. So I'm going to start with the, as an agent, I'm trying to pick the most relevant comp. So I'm going to do active, pending, contingent, and closed in Bell Hall. Now, again, based off of where the market's at, do you think I should go back a year and pull comps? Not if I have enough in the past 3 to 6 months, right? Because everything has changed. So what I'm going to do is go back to my sold date, and I'm going to choose my sold date, and I'm literally only going to go back 3 months. So today is December 4th. So let's just see what has been closed since September 4th. Now, when I got to make sure to put 2020 on here. So September 4th, 2020. So now my results show 48. Well, 48 is still too many, in my opinion, to use for closed comps, but it just shows you how much activity there is in the market. So what I can do is, the next step is that we know in Bell Hall, there's $1 million houses and there's $400,000 houses. Well, if my house is, I think, around 400, well, I don't need to include those $1 million houses with it. So the next thing I'm going to do is just limit the price. So I'll just say, well, show me everything under 600,000. So if I just do that, I get down to 20. So 20 is not an unreasonable list to look at, because remember, that includes active, pendings, and closed. So when I get down there, what I can do is I can zoom in. And if I wanted to do a map search, and again, for those of you that have been agents for a while, you know how to do the map search. You can use the polygon tool here. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to use these 20 comps because I want to show you how you can change those within Cloud CMA. So I can also go to my list here. So on my list, if these, as the agent, I determine these are my most relevant comps, I can just choose them all, or I can deselect ones that I don't want from here. But again, for the purpose of this, I'm going to use all 20 of these comps on here and show you how you can change these within Cloud CMA. So if I use these 20 comps, what you do is you can come right here to CMA. So if I come to the CMA tool here, I click on it, and it gives me these options. I can do the very simple one-line CMA, I can download PDFs, I can do all this, but the purpose of this class today is to go to the Cloud CMA. And on Cloud CMA, they allow up to 50 listings. So if you had 52 on here, I honestly don't know what it does. I don't know if it gives you an error message, but they only allow you to put in 50. So what you do is that here, use our MLS to pull your comps, and then once you hit Cloud CMA, it's going to redirect you. See, it's redirecting you to their website, but with the comps that you've selected. So now when I come here, I can, this is again part of the report presentation, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time today on how to customize your report, but I want to go through the simple stuff here. So, you can simply type in the client's name here. So we'll go, put your client's name in. You can put some notes for yourself.
Oh, my door shut down.
Do the address of the property. So we'll do 123 Bell Hall.
Right.
You can do the square footage.
Because I'm old, Sean.
Square footage.
Just pull the door shut. It's fine.
Square footage here. And we have beds, baths. So again, this information you're putting in here, it's strictly for the presentation purposes only. It's not using this in the data. So presentation purposes only here. You can add a photo of the property. So if you have a photo of the property for your client, you can add it on here, which will make a nicer presentation. I'm not going to add a photo here. And then you have some advanced info that you can put in for more detailed information here. We click on that, you see you can put year built, I can put 1998. You can put in all this information here if you'd like, which shows on the display. So again, this is not doing anything with the analytics itself. It's just for display purposes. So now here's where it says, okay, well, in MLS, you sent me these 20 MLS numbers. So remember on the MLS, we chose those 20 and we've selected those. And Cloud CMA recognizes these as the 20 that I am using. So you can also do this search with, they have labeled quick and dirty. This is not my doing here. So you can choose Cloud CMA to select listings near the subject property. Now, if you like the Zestimate, this is a great way to do it. But who likes the Zestimate? So you as the agent should know the comps better than this computer system that who knows where they're going to pull the listings from. So again, I recommend use our MLS, search the properties, pick the ones that you want, and don't use this system here. Use the ones that you have selected out of your MLS. So when you come down here, and this is a little confusing, you can either do this or this. But if you've already pre-populated, you don't have to do anything. You simply come down here and press Fetch Listings. So when you do Fetch Listings, it's going to choose these. But if you click this box, it's going to choose this. So you don't have to click on anything. Simply use the ones that you're going to use. So as soon as you hit Fetch Listings, it's going to come in here and it's going to start to prepare the report. And you can see it's working in the system. So now it's what they call organizing the listings. And what it's done a map. So now we're still within Cloud CMA, right? We're not in our MLS. So it knows here's your properties you selected. The reds are the closed sales. The greens are the actives, and the teals, if you want to call it, are under contract. They call it backup offer, which is a little confusing, but they are under contract. Now, one thing that I'm still a little confused by the way their system works, they say, oh, well, set the price of the property that you're analyzing. It's like, well, wait a second. The whole purpose of doing this is to help me tell the price, but then they leave you this blank that you're supposed to type it in. So what I do is I don't type in a price here. So you can leave it blank. And again, this is really what I'm finding is display purposes only for them. So you can leave this price blank and you don't have to use it at this moment.
And Tom,
yes?
If you were doing this for a buyer, do you think they're thinking you would put the list price in?
No, I mean, this is, my understanding of what this is supposed to be the market value of that property you're analyzing.
That's silly. Yeah.
Whether you're doing this for a buyer or seller, hopefully you're doing this ahead of meeting with them. So they're not seeing you go through this.
Did you test it with and without to see if it does a Zillow type thing?
It doesn't seem to do anything because I'll show you at the end, you can actually, on the final page, you can actually go enter this number.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of confusing. It's like, well, you want me to tell the price? I don't even have any analysis to it. So it's
right. Why am I doing this? Yeah.
So now it gives you all the properties that you selected here. So you can see the closed sales, it gives you the address, and then it has these options on here on the right, right? So it has the status here. So here's your list of everything. It gives you the low, the median, the average, the high. Now you can go into each one. And if I hit details and adjustments, and I'm just showing you this as an example. So if I go click on, come on, I don't know why there we go. So if I go details and adjustments, it brings up all the information on that specific house. Now, I don't know why you'd want to update the description that the agent put in. That's a little confusing to me why you'd even do that. But then it allows you down here to make adjustments to this one property. Now, unless you're highly skilled, I don't really recommend this feature of like, oh, well, this has a 1-car garage instead of a 2-car garage, so I'm going to take off $5,000, right? I don't really recommend using these adjustment tools. It leaves room for some errors, and the knowledge needed to make all those adjustments is buried in the data. So it does give you that option. I don't really recommend it. So it has all the listed properties here. Now the next step, so these are the listings. The next step is and you can click off here if you want. So if I click off this arrow, it's going to remove this one as part of the comp set, this checkbox here. So again, you can do it here, but you can also do it later. So I'm like, okay, let's see what these 20 look like, right? So if I go and I press customize report, now it comes up and it's going to work on customize report. Now, this is a whole other class and level of detail that I'm not going in today. Here's all of the pages and details that they allow you to put in your report. Now, if I did all of these, it's probably 150 pages long, and it's probably about 100 megabytes of PDF that good luck to you if your client is going to read through all this stuff. So you can choose which ones you want to put in here and which ones you want to exclude. So you see here, I can go through and I can read each one. So why you need a real estate professional, I can look at it so I can see what it looks like, right? And again, it goes through all of this. And again, this is my humble opinion. What client is going to read through this? I'm not sure many. But it has all of these resources for you to use, and you customize your report by adding or subtracting here. They have all these Tom Ferry pages on here. I mean, there is, so much information. Be careful. Don't use it all. Use the ones that are going to be relevant for your business. But that's, and you can change your themes, your colors. You can do all of this. Take some time, go through it, and you can make it custom for yourself. But I'm really here today to talk about kind of the data and the analytics and the numbers. So again, when you have some time, you can go through all of this. So once you have picked out what you want, then you simply either up here or down here, you can simply publish the report. So when I click publish the report, now it's going to take me to, again, still within Cloud CMA. It's taking me to a page that has all my CMA reports. So as an agent, these are all your reports. So it's creating this one right here, and you can see it's publishing it. So once it's published, then you can view it. So, and I'm going to click over here because this is the same one I did earlier. So if I click over here and if I view the PDF, it's going to pull up the PDF format of all the pages that I have included. We'll have to give it a minute if you see this scrolling across. But again, this is where I'm kind of cautioning you on making the report too big. And Crompton, you can voice your opinion on the level of details on this. Okay, I think we're almost done. So now it's created this PDF for me. So if you want to print it out, and again, I could have put a picture of the house in there. I could do different things, but now it goes through all of those reports I had clicked as yes, right? So anything you had clicked on there is all going to be included. Static PDF format, you can't click on anything, but you can email this out. But I mean, literally, I'm not even going to go to the bottom, but it's probably 100 pages or so. So it's way more information than anybody's ever going to read through. So you have to be very selective on what you're picking out of this to send to your client. So that's the PDF version. But really what I wanted to talk about today is the live version. So on the live version, so you can see view PDF, view live. So this live version is relatively new. So if I come and view live, just click on that. And what it's going to produce for you is a interactive live version of that report rather than the static PDF. So I'm still learning a few of the tools on here because there's some of these that I would rather not have on here at all, but I don't know how to customize this page here. So if I come here, I can click through these items. So this is for this address, prepared for your client. So if I click on what is a CMA, it's simply going to go through here and tell my client what a CMA is. Now, for me, I don't really find this to be something that I would use, but I can't figure out how to pick and choose which buttons I want on here. And I don't know if that's possible or not. So what is a CMA? Now, the important ones are right up in here. So comps. So if I click on the comps, what it's going to give for me is here's all the comps that I selected out of my MLS, right? And then it's giving me you know, the address, beds, baths, square footage, and it's telling me relative to my subject property, and I just threw in my subject property as 1,750 square feet. It's telling me if it's bigger or smaller than the subject property and by how much, what percentage. Lot size, now I didn't enter the lot size over here. I can go edit my property details and add some more information here. But then it gives you what sold date it was, how many days on the market. It tells you information on each one. So I can scroll over to the right here and it's going to give me all 20 that I picked. Right. So it gives you kind of again, the reason why this is called the live version is at the end, if you email this link to your clients, this is exactly what they're going to be seeing. So this link, they're going to be able to scroll through just like I'm doing here. They're going to see all of this information if they click on that one. Now, another option on here is, so this is the kind of more list format. I can click on the map format. So the map format is going to give me simply on a map where all my houses are. Right, so here's all my houses on the map. Now, they add all the other houses on the map, right, which it might be a little confusing if you let a seller or buyer start wandering around all over creation. So I wish there was a way just to show the 20 that I sent to them, but this shows everything. So traditionally, I would just stick to here's the list format of the information of the property. And if you click on any one of these, you can simply the hamburger blend. So the hamburger menu in the upper left and go customize.
Do you see it?
Up here?
Yep, up in the left-hand corner there. If you, well, before you got to there, I was talking about when you wanted to customize the
so you can customize right here.
The boxes.
Okay.
So you would need to be one menu back.
Yep. So then you can customize what you want to show. That's great. Okay. Well, thank you for showing me that.
Yep.
So if on here, if your client, you know, they can click on one of these houses. So if I click, I thought you could. Yep. So if I click on the house, it's going to pull up all the details on that one house. So you can scroll through all the pictures. So everything is pointed towards that one house. And then you can go backwards here if you want to get back to all the comps. And then this is always the home page. So if like, oh, I'm done with this list format, you can go back to the home page here and it takes you to this page. So that's the list of all of them. Here's average pricing. So average pricing, which again is a confusing concept to me. I'm not sure it has a ton of value, but unless you had all very comparable properties, it shows you the average prices. But some of these are smaller houses, some are bigger houses. Again, it has a list format, price per square foot, days on market. Now, keep in mind this is days on market from the original list. So here's days on market here, kind of gives you what the active contingents. So this is another format to look at the comms.
Anton?
Yes.
The average pricing back on that last list, is it just a simple average?
It's a simple
or is it
average.
actually,
So
it is?
It's not, to me, it can be misleading because you could have a client that has a nicer than average house because
Right.
it's bigger and you know you're tending to show an
So
average.
this thing, all it does is add up those whatever number and divide it.
dividing by 20. You know, that's all. It's not
It's
any
doing what you always have harped about. Okay.
a very analytical tool right there.
Okay, thanks.
So this will look familiar to people. So here is this average. So you have price. Sorry, let me move this. So you have price versus the square footage. So all your reds are the closed sales. So you can click on each one and it will pull up here on the left which one we're talking about here. Right? So all of the comps are showing right here with the details showing down below. So reds are the closed, the green ones are the actives, the teal ones are the under contracts. So now it shows a price versus square footage. Now, when I look at this chart here, so it has where most, and I'm assuming this is one deviation here. So most of your closed comps are going to close within this gray banding here, with this line being the average. Now, when I look at this, and if my house is really 1,750 square feet, right away, I'm like, well, what's this one way out here? Right? It's almost 3,000 square feet. And then when I look at it, I'm like, oh, well, I pulled up one. This is in a different section. It's not really a relevant comp. So I did that on purpose because I wanted to show everybody. You can simply come right here and click this and exclude the comp. So it's included right now, but if I click right here, it removes it from the data. Now it's still here, it's still on the list, but it's removed from the data. So now when you look at what's left, it's like, okay, now here's everything more relevant in size to my subject property. And again, these are all the closed sales over the past 3 months. So it shows you how busy the market's been because we have 16 closed comps in 3 months. And again, you can scroll through each one of it on here, and you can show, just like on APC, you can show your client, better or worse. Well, look, here's our subject property. Look at these 4 that closed. How do we compare to those? Here's one that's active. This one's a competitor of ours. Here's what's good and bad about this one. So you can focus in on this, but use some of this as the extra data to help you.
How far down is the closed date?
It is right. Well, that one's under contract.
Oh, sold date. Okay.
Yeah. So it's right here. So it's just, you have
Okay.
to scroll down off of this.
And it's probably worth looking to see if the ones above the line are more recent. And
Well, these
others.
are all 3 months old, but you can see what's happening is the 2 under contracts are definitely above the line.
Yeah.
So the line is moving up over
And the
time.
active, yeah. And then the average price per square foot changed when you pulled out the big one.
Correct. So it's
Yeah.
using the data that you're showing. So it's doing the math on what is showing here. Now, again, I caution everybody again on don't go to this number here and get out your calculator and multiply it by a 2,200 square foot house, right? Because that's not how this works. And this is to me, unfortunately, a misleading data point here. Really look at the charts and the bands, because if you look at so this blue house here is our subject property. So this blue marker is our subject property that's 1,750 square feet. So when I look at this one here, it's sitting between 448 and 401, right? So it's right around 425 a square foot. Sorry, 425,000. So this is the better way to do it rather than getting out your calculator and multiplying by $250 a square foot. And just to show you what can happen if you do that, let's take a 2,200 square foot house, and I'm going to get out my calculator here. And if I take 2,200 square feet and I multiply by the average, now I end up at 550,000, right? So look at the chart. If I was at 550,000, where am I going to be on this chart? I'm going to be up here by my name, right? So it's not, this is a misleading, in my mind, this is not a get out your calculator and use this price per square foot. You have to do the analysis more based on the comps here. So really look at that way. It's like at a certain square footage, your price per square foot will be different. And you can see if you go to the list format, the price per square foot, they're all over the place, right? It's not, so if I'm coming down here, this, well, that was the big one. So you have 299, 275, 264, 233, 229. It's not an average. Here's a 209. So I mean, you have a big range of price per square foot, and it's because the smaller houses will sell for a higher per square foot than the bigger ones. So it's important to make sure to use this chart to help you value the houses and stay away from averaging everything together. Yes, this line basically represents at a certain square footage, what should the average house price be? So use this line as the average, not this price per square foot. I wish they had on here where it would show you where this market is located. It doesn't tell you that it's at 425, but that's roughly where it's at. And you can tell just from, the axes over here, but this is a better way to do it rather than getting out your calculator at a price per square foot. So again, this is, looks a lot like APC. It's not quite APC in my mind, but it is a serves the purpose of being inside the MLS, and it gives you that visual tool to use with your clients so they can see when they're priced too high, or a buyer can see when it's priced too high or when it's a good deal. So you can use all this. And again, you can go through all these comps, and if some of them aren't relevant, you can delete them from, by just checking off right up here. You can just exclude it as a comp. Now, I still believe that you should end up with, hopefully at least 7 to 10 closed comps. If you only have 1 or 2 on here, that's not a real, analytical data set. So, I mean, use as, if you can get to 7 or to 10 or more closed comps, I think that's key in doing this analysis. If I go back to my main page here, so you have that average price per square foot. You have time to sell. So this time to sell is a little bit different chart. So it's 18 days on average, right? 99.3% of lists. But what they've done is you have days on market compared to price. And this is a little confusing. So the white open circle is what they listed the house for. The red closed is what it closed for. So if you look at the ones that sold very quickly, so let's just take this band right here, right? If I look at that sold over full price, just under list price, way over list price, over list price, closed exactly at list price, and this one was just listed. So you can see the ones that are selling quickly, we have 1, 2, 3 of them that sold over full price, 2 of them that sold full price, and 1 of them that closed very close. So the ones that are selling quickly are selling at, near, or above list price. If you go in time this way, then you can see the negotiability. Look at how much this one negotiated. Down, down. These were close, right? These got close to list price, as well as that one. This one got exactly list price. Now, what they don't show on here is price changes. So this one might have changed its price, and then when it hit the right price, it sold quickly at list price. So it does not show the price changes over time. This represents at the time that it was listed here and it sold here, but they might have started up here. The chart does not reflect that. But the key thing to this is that if you sell quickly, then you can get full price or close to it if you're priced correctly.
So original list price doesn't mean original list price?
So this is the list, I believe.
It says original, yeah.
Okay, I need to look at, I gotta verify that. But
yeah, hopefully.
List price. But it also, it doesn't, I guess what I should have said is it doesn't reflect, maybe when this one went under contract, it was priced right here.
Right, exactly.
So it doesn't reflect the last list price to see, well, it sold in 1 day once it was priced right. So again, it's a good guideline, and the 18 days is a good guideline, but you can see from our MLS, remember our MLS, what was our MLS average or the median days on market that I was showing on Market Monitor? It was 8, right? Yeah. So do you think Bell Hall sells faster than the market or slower than the market? I would say it's at least the market, if not faster, right? So this 18 days is from original list price, not from the final list price. So, I mean, I would expect to see more like this, like even these that are selling with a few days on it, they changed their price and then they sold within 1 or 2 days. So again, it's not a bad analysis, but remember, when a house is sitting too long, once you change the price, it could sell in a day or 2 once you get to the right price. So there's that days on the market chart, and there's these. So this is one I would definitely exclude. So here's online valuations here. So our friends at Zillow. So the Zestimate, how accurate are they? Varied up to 7.5%. But look at what the claim is on the Zestimate compared to the sold price. So look at all of these are like 1% and below, basically, right? The average on the close is 0.8%. So who thinks Zestimate is within 1% of valuation in Bell Hall? Anybody? Maybe your sellers and buyers do, right? Everybody treats them like, they're all, so be very, very careful about sharing this type of information. And it's not that Zillow and the Zestimate was that accurate. They are looking and seeing the houses go under contract, and then they're altering their Zestimate to reflect what it's under contract or sold for. So this is completely erroneous information of, you know, when a house is not listed, their Zestimate is going to be significantly off compared to what this is. So this is giving a very false sense of accuracy and security to your buyers and sellers. If they're reading this, like, look how accurate this estimate is. I'm just going to go look at my Zestimate and see what it's worth. And that's what my house is worth. This is completely erroneous information, which I can't believe Cloud CMA is buying into this. But I would not show this to buyers and sellers, because you're going to give them this immediately go to the Zestimate and argue with you on value based off the Zestimate, because look at how accurate they are. So I'm just being very upfront and honest about this chart. Is like, you can get yourself into big trouble if you're sharing this with the clients, because then they're going to believe the Zestimate is all that they need. Why do you need an agent if the Zestimate is this good, right? If the Zestimate was really that good, you don't need anybody to price a house. But this is all based off of, they know what the agent listed it for and what they sold it for. I can be really good at pricing houses if you tell me that it's under contract. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that one. And then here's your estimated market value. Now, maybe Sean or Lynn, maybe you know the answer to this. I don't know why it's faded out. I've tried to get it where it's not faded out, but if I click on this and if I go put in my, and I'm just going to put in a number, I'll put in 425.
Anton,
Yes.
Anton, if you go back to what you had before, go back to that screen you had up before.
Yes.
Before you went here, go back one more. Look on the bottom. There's arrows that go either side. No, go back to, do not go off the one with the boxes. Like, go back to the estimated market value for me. Click on the box that says estimated market value, or go to the one before that. If you look on the bottom, see, okay, click on the page.
Estimated market.
Oh, okay.
Whatever, just click on the page.
Okay, I can see it now, right here.
Yeah, and in the bottom, there's like on either side underneath the page, it's, you go one way, we'll give you online valuations. The next way will give you that. So you can just kind of scroll through it. You don't ever have to go back to that page.
So there's the comps.
Make sense?
But I guess what I'm saying is why this is faded out here and it doesn't show you what your predicted, like, you know, I would think.
You know what I think that's because we didn't fill that one box in.
Well, and I've tried to, like, I put 425 on here, and let's say the mortgage payoff is 300,000. I've tried to put that in there on the other page, and it never shows up as, you know, on that page. It seems like it's always grayed out for me. But anyway, that's just, if somebody finds out how to make it not gray, you know. So this is where, remember on that first page, it said, I don't know why they're asking you for market value, and it looks like it didn't even save it. But so this is where you can put in your sales price and mortgage payoff. Now, you know, you got to be careful here, because this really isn't their net proceeds, because they have commissions, deed stamps, attorney's fees, you know, closing cost, any other closing costs. So that's not really a full picture of, you know, if this was a closing cost sheet, that would be a little bit, I think, more useful. And then they have, you know, and again, this goes through everything that you can use, commission distribution. Here's intelligence. So these are just static charts that you can have, but this all comes back to, the rest of it is all based off of all the data that you want to put in from your analysis here that you can customize, that Lynn thankfully showed me how to do. So here's everything on here that you can hide. So like, I can hide what is a CMA. So now it's gone. Thank you for showing me that, Lynn, because that's very useful. So you can decide, you know, you can add client testimonials. So if I want client testimonials, I can put it on here. Now I don't have any in here, but you could add client testimonials on there. So you can make your presentation as you see fit for your business. And you can customize this. Now, when you, and I just wanted to show everybody when you come back here. So if I go back out of this report and I'm on, okay, this is analytics here and I want to send her house, I can copy this live link. So when I press copy live link, now I can just include that link in an email to her. So, and it's going to, keep in mind, it's going to be live, which means that if I go back into this and I change anything, it's going to be live based. So if I go back in here and I click off of this one, if I say, well, no, I don't really want to include that one anymore, and I click off of it, and Anna goes back to that link, now this is gone. So it is, I mean, just remember, it's live. So anything you alter in that file for her, she's going to see if she clicks on that link.
And will it update if, like, for instance, one of the active contingents closes? I
No,
assume then it,
this is still based off of when you ran it at that moment in time.
oh, it doesn't update.
Right?
Okay.
If this goes to close, it's not going to reflect that.
Hmm.
It's only holding the data that you provided at that time.
Okay.
So again, you know, you can do that from, and again, you can, you know, when I go back to here, I can download a PDF, right? I can copy this PDF link, and literally it's going to be, I've seen in some cases it's 80 to 100 megabytes of PDF. So I don't really recommend, you know, I only recommend doing the live link and controlling on here, you know, what you want them to see. So I don't really recommend sending them that, you know, just PDF version when you can have a live link version of it. But again, you can customize everything on here based off of your needs, your analysis, but make sure that you understand what they're seeing is going to be exactly what you're seeing here. So it's a good tool from a standpoint of every one of our agents has access to it. It's already there for you. You can select any comp you want strictly from our MLS. You know, so you're just logging your MLS, picking your comps out, and doing this. And you can alter even when you're in here. You can, you know, you can subtract ones that you picked. Now, I don't believe there's any way to go add one if you missed it. So you'd have to go back, open up your search criteria, make sure you have everything you want to include, and go forward again. And then when you publish it again, it's going to be a new, when you come back here, it's going to be a new one. Like I did this one an hour ago. I did this one a minute ago. So it's going to keep publishing a new one along the way. So, you know, just keep in mind, you know, from that aspect, it's always going to have, you know, the ability to go back and forth, but it's going to create a new file for you at the same time. Does anybody have any general questions on how to use this? And I would recommend don't, if you haven't used this before, don't try the hardest one you can possibly find. Try a very simple CMA version, get used to using it, understand the data, and then you can work into the harder ones. But even the harder ones that have less comps, still try to get, you know, if you can find 7 comps, even if you go back in time a little bit, try to get enough relevant sold comps to make this data worthwhile. Because if you only have a couple closed comps, you don't know, if you only choose these 2, you don't know which ones are high and low. But when I have enough on here, if I have 16 on here, I know these are nicer than average houses, right? These 2 here. And I know this one's an exceptional house, where it should be. So, but I mean, again, it's still, you can show this, and it's a visual tool for your buyers, sellers, investors. So it still works from that aspect. Any general questions before we end the session? Thanks, Lynn and Sean, and I don't know if John's still there for the help.
No, he blew through here.
I learned a couple new things, so but you can, once you customize it, it will be customized to what you want to be able to present. So, well, I hope that's useful for everybody, and everybody has a safe weekend out there. And
Thanks, Anton.
I'm always around for any questions. So,
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.